Evelyn sat cross-legged on her bedroom floor, surrounded by an array of old books and papers. A dim light from her desk lamp created a cozy glow, perfect for late-night research. Her fascination with urban legends had always drawn her in, those whispered tales that danced on the edge of truth and myth. Tonight, she was particularly captivated by the legend of the Shadow Girl. She flipped through dusty pages. Evelyn found herself engrossed in descriptions of the mysterious figure. A story spoke of a dark silhouette appearing during thunderstorms, or in abandoned places, always lurking just beyond reach. And she led people away from safety, drawing them into shadows where they were never seen again. Raced through Evelyn as she imagined what it must be like to encounter such a being. Mark entered her room, yawning and rubbing his eyes. Oh, he often teased Evelyn about her obsession with the supernatural. He cared deeply for her adventurous spirit. Leaning over her shoulder to glimpse at her findings, he raised an eyebrow at the mention of exploring the abandoned building, rumored to be a hot spot for sightings. He expressed his skepticism, but ultimately agreed to join Evelyn on this adventure, knowing how much these explorations meant to her despite his reservations. Their pact was sealed with eager anticipation as they planned their late-night excursion. Before setting off into the night, they decided to visit Mr. Thompson, a local elder known for sharing chilling stories about their town's legend. His weathered face lit up at their arrival as he settled into his favorite armchair with a cup of tea. In their intent to seek out the Shadow Girl, Mr. Thompson remarked on their bravery or perhaps foolishness with concern in his voice. He began recounting haunting tales that echoed through time, stories of lost travelers entranced by shadows dancing under stormy skies who were never seen again. Shiver ran down Evelyn's spine as he emphasized staying away during storms and warned against letting curiosity lead them astray. Despite his warnings looming over them like dark clouds ready to burst, Evelyn felt invigorated rather than deterred. With flashlights in hand and hearts pounding with excitement mixed with trepidation, Evelyn and Mark finally set out toward the abandoned building. That evening the wind howled around them as ominous clouds gathered overhead. Little did they know that shadows were already stirring in anticipation of their arrival. On a stormy night, they ventured into the abandoned building equipped with flashlights and cameras. Strange occurrences began, whispers echoing through empty halls. While shadows seemed to move independently, the atmosphere grew tense. Mark felt increasingly uneasy, while Evelyn remained fascinated by every flicker of darkness around them. They glimpsed something darker than shadow moving just beyond sight. A fleeting outline resembling a girl appeared briefly before vanishing again. Thunder rumbled outside. They found themselves separated after following different sounds within the building's depths. Mark heard cries for help leading him deeper into danger. Panic surged within him as darkness enveloped him further still. Meanwhile, Evelyn was drawn toward another corner where fleeting glimpses of the Shadow Girl danced between light and dark, as if beckoning her closer. Amidst this chaos arrived a hiker seeking refuge from the storm, the lost traveler who encountered both Evelyn and Mark, while desperately trying to navigate through fear-stricken shadows closing in around them. A race against time, Evelyn fought off fear while desperately trying to reach Mark before despair fully consumed him in darkness. Together they faced manifestations of their fears, embodied by shadows, as escape became paramount. Mr. Thompson appeared unexpectedly outside, searching for them. His presence ignited hope amidst suffocating gloom surrounding them all. Ultimately managing to escape into safety just as lightning illuminated everything around them, a final glimpse revealed that the Shadow Girl was not entirely malevolent, but rather an embodiment of fear itself, an ever-present reminder that curiosity can lead one too close to oblivion. On a stormy night, Evelyn and Mark stood before the imposing structure of the abandoned building. A wind howled outside, rattling broken windows as flashes of lightning briefly illuminated their surroundings. Equipped with flashlights and cameras, they were eager to capture any sign of the legendary Shadow Girl. They stepped inside. The air grew heavy with anticipation. A stale scent of decay filled their nostrils, while echoes of distant raindrops created a rhythm that reverberated through empty halls. Sense of unease crept over Mark. He hesitated at the threshold, glancing back at the swirling tempest outside. Evelyn pressed on, her heart racing with excitement. Drawn to every flicker of shadow in her flashlight beam, she moved deeper into the building. Remnants of forgotten memories lingered. Old furniture, draped in dust covers, and walls adorned with peeling paint whispered tales long since abandoned. They ventured further. Whispers began to swirl around them like an ethereal breeze. Mark looked at Evelyn with wide eyes. Indistinct murmurs rose and fell as if carried by unseen voices. Arc forms danced just beyond their line of sight, moving independently from their light sources. Each flicker sent chills down Mark's spine while Evelyn's curiosity only intensified. He pointed her flashlight toward a narrow hallway where a staircase spiraled into darkness. With each step closer, a chill ran through Mark's body, a warning not easily ignored. Yet Evelyn felt exhilarated by the unknown. She wanted to uncover what lay hidden in those depths. Suddenly, something darker than shadow flitted across their vision. An outline resembling a girl vanished almost as quickly as it appeared. Captivated by this fleeting apparition, Evelyn gasped softly while Mark instinctively took a step back, his heart pounding against this decision to continue. Mark nodded slowly but couldn't shake off his sense of foreboding. It felt wrong to pursue whatever this presence was when dark forms seemed alive around them. Despite his instincts urging caution, he followed Evelyn further into the unknown as thunder rumbled overhead. They delved deeper into the building's darkened corridors. Strange occurrences escalated. The temperature dropped suddenly, as if ice had seeped through stone walls surrounding them. Shadows elongated grotesquely under their flashlights. Eerie figures lurked just out of reach, yet beckoned with silent allure. Every moment spent within these forsaken halls, Evelyn found herself entranced by whispers reverberating through decaying woodwork, her fascination overshadowing all fears instilled by darkness itself, while dread enveloped Mark tighter like creeping vines clawing for escape. A storm continued its symphony outside. Rain lashed against broken panes, creating haunting melodies intertwined with distant cries echoing throughout emptiness. They were not alone within these shadows after all. Evelyn found herself in labyrinth of shadows, her heart pounding against her chest as the storm raged outside. Echoed through the halls, swirling around her and intertwining with the sound of thunder. Beam of her flashlight towards the corners of each room, desperate to catch another glimpse of the elusive figure that had captured her imagination. The air hung heavy around her, each breath taut with unspoken dread. Just when she thought she spotted a flicker of movement in the periphery, it vanished like smoke, and compelled her forward, a pull deeper into darkness, where curiosity met uncertainty. Meanwhile, Mark struggled against rising panic as he followed cries for help that felt impossibly close yet maddeningly out of reach. Every step deeper into shadowy corridors left him feeling more isolated from Evelyn's reassuring presence. Though the building conspired against them, separating their paths and amplifying their fears. He called out for Evelyn, but his voice was swallowed by the tempest outside and suffocating silence within. Memories played back moments shared during childhood adventures, where courage defined their explorations together. Now, alone in this depth of darkness, doubt gnawed at him. Would they find each other again? Evelyn pressed on despite feeling small in the vast emptiness surrounding her. Leading silhouettes danced just beyond reach, tempting and taunting all at once. He caught sight of what appeared to be a girl clothed in shadows standing still amid swirling darkness, as if waiting for an invitation to draw closer. Just as she began to approach this mysterious figure with caution, a rustle behind her startled Evelyn. A lost traveler stumbled into view, drenched from rain, yet visibly shaken by his own encounter with fear lurking within these walls. Wrenched from rain and shaken by his own encounter with fear lurking within these walls. He recounted his search for shelter amidst echoes from every direction, each one weaving tales alive in this place about those who had disappeared before him. Although he felt drawn towards safety, he understood there was palpable danger hidden beneath layers of intrigue. Evelyn nodded slightly, perhaps sharing experiences could anchor them both amidst uncertainty swirling around them like tempestuous winds outside. Before they could gather their thoughts or make plans to escape together, however, the thunder crashed louder than ever before, shaking floors beneath them, as though demanding attention from whatever entity lurked just beyond sight. Mark's voice pierced through confusion, his desperate calls growing frantic as time slipped away unnoticed. In that moment when everything felt darkened by despair, a sudden flash illuminated broken walls surrounding them, revealing not only paths leading outward, but also fragments hidden deep within each shadow cast across crumbling surfaces. A flickering silhouette emerged, vividly illuminated against stark contrast between light and dark. Was indeed her, the shadow girl, but rather than malevolence oozing from shadows encasing every curve, it felt almost ethereal, instead like an embodiment longing to be understood rather than feared, with newfound determination igniting. Sighed Evelyn's heart, urging action forth to embrace what lay ahead. Even if wrapped tightly under layers woven with fear, they dared take steps closer toward light beckoning them forth. And then came Mr. Thompson's distant shout echoing midst chaos, a guiding beacon promising hope, while illuminating ways outward into safety where lost souls could find peace once more. As the storm raged outside, Evelyn's heart raced with a mix of fear and determination to find Mark. The abandoned building loomed before her, alive with shadows and secrets of those who had wandered its halls before them. The air thickened with tension, almost as if the very walls breathed in sync with her rising anxiety. Evelyn pressed through the darkness, calling for Mark while trying to suppress her own panic. Each echo of her voice was swallowed by the heavy atmosphere, creating a suffocating silence that weighed heavily upon her, a reminder that time was slipping away. Another part of the building, Mark battled his own fears. The cries he had heard earlier clawed at his mind. Were they real or mere figments born from his imagination? Shadows loomed larger around him, twisting into grotesque shapes that danced on the edge of his vision. Panic surged within him as he stumbled blindly through darkened hallways, searching for any sign of light or safety. Just when hope seemed lost, a flash of lightning illuminated a doorway ahead, a momentary beacon in encroaching despair. Grasping onto this flicker of hope, Mark rushed toward it despite the dread coiling tightly around his heart. Meanwhile, Evelyn's thoughts raced. She needed to reach him before it was too late. With each passing moment, she sensed the shadows growing more aggressive, manifestations of their collective fears materializing around her like distorted reflections in a funhouse mirror. Their cold grip tugging at her resolve, threatening to drag her into depths unknown. Recalling Mr. Thompson's warnings about choices made in moments fraught with uncertainty gave her strength. Determined not to become another cautionary tale whispered among neighbors over cups of tea, Evelyn summoned all her courage and pressed forward. She caught sight of movement, a flicker at the edge of her flashlight beam. Her breath caught as she recognized the outline. It was Mark. Relief flooded through her as she dashed toward him just as thunder cracked overhead like a whip. Came another flash. The shadows shifted and warped around them like living beings intent on ensnaring their minds with doubt and terror. That brief moment illuminated by lightning, Evelyn glimpsed something beyond fear. There was an essence within these shadows, a reflection not only of their deepest anxieties, but also their strength to confront them. They reached each other amidst swirling chaos. Mark's wide eyes mirrored Evelyn's fierce determination. They knew they had to face this together. Their unspoken resolve unified them. Hand in hand, they turned back towards the advancing darkness, armed with newfound bravery. Mr. Thompson's voice echoed softly in their minds, a reminder that acknowledging one's fear did not equate to succumbing, but rather embracing it as part of their journey forward. Fierce unity forged between them. They began retracing their steps toward safety, while simultaneously confronting manifestations formed from their insecurities. Shadowy figures morphed into pieces symbolizing personal struggles, anxieties over friendship, and uncertainty about future paths challenged them at every turn. Yet through it all came bursts of laughter, shared amidst whispers. Their bond became stronger than either had anticipated, and thus they carved a way through shadowlands previously considered impenetrable barriers, constructed solely from out alone, finally emerging into open space where rain poured down freely. As if washing away remnants left behind, they found themselves greeted unexpectedly by Mr. Thompson standing vigil beneath sheltering eaves nearby, wielding a lantern whose glow beckoned gently against cruel night skies above them. His presence ignited sparks within both young souls, casting aside lingering doubts about what lay ahead. Navigating shadows didn't always mean surrendering entirely, but rather confronting fears head-on without losing oneself along the way. Thunder rolled overhead, faded gradually behind distant hills, illuminating everything anew. The final revelation struck home. A shadow girl wasn't merely malevolent nor simply frightful. It signified life experiences intertwined, where curiosity met apprehension, creating an intricate dance between light reflected off dark spaces, yet unexplored. Evelyn smiled up at Mark, knowing now their adventure would forever remain woven among memories, created timelessly, a reminder never to lose touch despite storms brewing on journeys ahead, and so hand in hand under skies clearing slowly. Imming yet hopeful dawn awaited rise again upon horizons filled with possibility.